Let's stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Introduction, please.
Hello, everyone. Well, we're all here. I'm Kristen. We have Mike, Rich, Jessica, Harley, Julie, Frank, and Deb is online this evening. And I'm sure we'll have Bob at some point as well. And there are a couple of additions. We have to accept the scoping study report from something that was included in the thing from last week, the presentation from last week. And then another executive session for labor relations agreements with employees. And I don't think, do we have to talk about winter salt? So we can delete that. Nice. And the minutes that need approval are from November 1st.
Who's on Zoom tonight?
Deb.
Oh, just Deb.
And Nancy Morlino just joined.
What do we think of the minutes?
I'll move that we approve the minutes from, what day was it?
November 1st.
November 1st, thank you.
And I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. No pre-requested?
Nope.
No announcements?
Mm-mm.
Zoning administrators report, which is nothing right now. When do you think we should bring that up? Do you want to bring it up now, or?
Well, planning commission report is next, and it does have zoning administrator position under that, so.
I guess.
Yes, so
we can all
my,
roll right into yours?
yes, I'll make a brief, planning commission report. The planning commission held a special meeting last night to discuss the zoning administrator position, for which there were two potential people who had expressed interest. We had a discussion, and we have voted to recommend Nancy Morlino to the select board as an interim zoning administrator. At our meeting last night, she attended and spoke with the planning commission. Harry Van Meter, the former planning commission chair, also attended, and he recommended Nancy Morlino highly and said that he would serve as a mentor to her as she was getting her feet under her. She has also already signed up for an official training about zoning administration later this month. So that's my report.
Okay. I sat in on the meeting last night,
Yeah.
and Nancy just joined us, so maybe she can.
Harry has also just joined.
Oh, Harry?
Harry has also joined, yeah.
Well, what I gathered when Nancy first spoke was that she was looking at filling in the vacancy as an intern. How, I'm trying, are we going to be in this mess next year again, looking for a new zoning administrator, or does she think it's something she wants to carry on? I didn't really, the other applicant didn't say anything about being interim. It was just an application, correct? Mm-hmm. And what I gathered from Nancy was that she was making sure that nothing lapsed. Nancy, would you care to comment on that?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Mike. I guess, after further clarification of how many hours were actually involved in the zoning administrator position, I had initially said interim, and then Jessica helped clarify, I guess, the actual workload of the position. So it's not something that I'm prepared to walk away from for a year or two. That said, I'm in my golden years, so I can't tell you that I'm going to be there, 15, 20 years from now, but I don't have an end date at this point or look to it as a short-term fill.
Okay, because when you first talked, I got the impression that you were looking at making sure we didn't lapse, but now you're comfortable with we're trying to ride this out for a while as long as everything works and stuff like that. So, Okay, that's good. That makes me feel good, so,
I'm comfortable as long as you're comfortable.
okay. No, that's good. And the only other thing that I noticed last night, the discussion, was the fact that it seemed to be very important to a lot of people that the zoning administrator live in this town. And I'm just curious, and I mean, there's a couple ways of looking at this too, in my opinion, was to live in this town is great, but you know, you have a little distance, and also to live in this town, like for how long? You know, maybe you just moved here a couple of years, you know, well, I live in this town, that makes me more qualified than somebody else. And I was just kind of interesting to see how the discussion all went down.
Yeah. I hope that Harley can speak to that, as he was one of the people who was expressing that.
I explicitly made that statement, well, there's two candidates, one candidate lives in Pawlet. I value that candidate higher because they live here, given everything else approximately the same, not for an unqualified candidate, but because the decisions they make affect the town they live in. And so I felt like having a local person do the local position was just more valuable to me. It made more sense. Nothing against the other candidate who is also very local, but doesn't specifically reside in Pawlet.
Okay.
So that's why I made that comment. The decisions you make affect the community in which you vote and pay taxes.
Okay, that's more clear to me now. I joined the meeting last night purely to just watch. I didn't want to get in the discussion and stuff like that. I wanted to let it all work through. But those were a couple of things that came up in my mind as watching the meeting. And I'm glad that you guys both clarified them. Thank you. So, Bob just pulled in. So, Jessica just filled us in on the special meeting they had last night.
Okay.
And the planning commission has nominated Nancy Morlino to take over the zoning administrator's job. And Nancy's on with via Zoom, and
Great.
she's willing to do that. And it says interim for now, but it's not like just to get us through a tight spot. She's going to give it a run for a while and see how it all goes.
Sounds great.
So,
Jonas was interim technically,
Right.
right? He was there for quite some years.
yeah, and
Last couple have been.
yeah, he mentioned it a few times. You guys still looking? But
Yeah.
We were.
it was good, yes. So it's really good that we had two good candidates right off the bat. So we're not in quite the same situation we were when we finally begged Jonas to come. So,
Yeah, I'll move that the select board appoint Nancy Morlino as interim zoning administrator.
I'll second that.
Bob will second that. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Carried. Congratulations, Nancy. Thank you very much for stepping up
Oh, thank you, and when can I start?
right now.
Right now.
I don't know if there's any type of, Deb doesn't have to do any swearing in or nothing like that because it's appointed, right?
No, it's
You'll have to
fill
work
out
with
employment
Julie.
paperwork with
Yeah.
Julie. Yeah, and probably have a bit of a conversation also with with Harry and with Nancy to see what times would be good. It doesn't have to be Wednesdays, right? That was just when Jonas came in. Like what time of week would be good for her, when Harry could also be available to do some of that, like showing her around the office, like where things are located.
Harry,
All right, well, tomorrow being Wednesday, I plan on stopping in and just checking it out. So,
That's great, Nancy.
Great.
Thank you.
all right, thank you all.
And that's all for the
That's all
planning
for the
commission?
planning
for now?
commission. Yeah, we'll have our usual meeting in 2 weeks.
Okay. Great. Thank you for pulling that together and
Yeah.
bringing that up. road foreman, what's going on with the roads?
Yes, we just got Buttons Falls paved. They got the shoulder stone finished on that. Oh, what else is going on? We, hopefully for the next meeting, we'll have, some information together on spending that first 100,000 potentially, you know, and fill in that, start filling in that quarry hole. We did shim a bunch of spots. We shimmed that spot as well as North Pawlet Road.
Yeah, that turned out nice. I was
Yeah.
noticing that when I came through tonight, so.
So now we just want to make sure we stop the base of it
Mhm.
from settling anymore. So, salt, they've trucked some of their own salt in, so they've got plenty of salt at both locations.
Mhm.
And as far as the uniforms go, so the only one that I have spoken to about that is Dale. And he really wants to keep the uniforms. I haven't talked to Perry about it. I don't know if you've heard any different.
I think Perry is not interested in utilizing the uniforms. So right now, there's kind of a 50-50. But at this point in time, my understanding is that Foley, who's the uniform provider, is going to pick up all the uniforms and for their standard laundering, and they're going to see what we're missing, because I know Keith has a couple uniforms still, he mentioned at his house, that need to be returned. So they're going to let us know what's missing, and then we're going to go from there. So the conversations I think that have taken place is that some sort of a uniform is probably desired, just to have some professionalism and just an understanding of kind of what's expected, but there's a need for high vis, because right now they're just these like forest green outfits or earth tone. So that's what I have for you there.
Is there a plan for getting the uniforms back from Keith?
I think he
I-
has brought
Yeah.
some of them, but
Has
he
he brought them
hasn't.
back?
Some are there.
Right.
Because I understand that we have to
Okay.
pay for the ones that he has, right? Is that true, Julie? Do we pay each week or something for them? Yeah. So, I mean,
We need to get the rest of his
Yeah.
uniforms back, and that's as easy as a phone call. But
He's aware, but I think we might need to remind and ask for that.
yeah, maybe someone just needs to swing by there to pick them up.
So we need to, I think it's kind of understood that half of the current highway department likes them, the other half doesn't. So I think that it sort of needs to be a conversation about,
I'm sure that we can get some high vis from Foley.
that's the thing, like maybe we can reevaluate the products that we're getting. I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about their product line or what they have to offer. So maybe it's just switching up what is currently being utilized. Do you know?
I can call and see what they have, what they offer.
Yeah, they've got a
They have
catalog.
different styles of stuff. I'm sure they might have like an online link that we can look at.
I think we may even have a catalog.
But that would be wise, if you could call them, and maybe even a salesperson could stop
Yeah.
and show you the options and explain to you the difference in how many people are on and how much you get. I think we bought shirts and pants and a work coat too, right?
Yes.
And I think a pair of coveralls maybe, or two.
Oh.
It might be 2 coats, 2 coveralls, and some pants, some shirts. I don't remember how it all.
It needs to
What
be a
the
minimum,
breakdown is.
right, a minimum of 2 of everything, so you got one in the wash and one you have.
Do we think it would be a good idea to have see if somebody from Foley can go to the town garage and meet with the guys and do we want the employees to be involved in the decision making process, or is this something that
Probably
board
the
sort
next,
of wants
the
to-
next step, I think, maybe, after, if Julie could meet with them and, and just kind of say, all right, this is what we got for a package that we can present, offer to you people in the budgeted allotment that we have, and and go from there. I think if after we had some facts, it would probably be better. We could put it out there, I feel, than,
And in the interim, we'll make sure that we get Keith's back, so that we're no longer paying for a third set at this point.
as far as the road crew, did you realize that? I'm sure. So Sheldon Trucks is closing at the end of the year, and there's no longer gonna be a Mack dealer in Burlington, so that's may pose a little bit of issues. There's one in Manchester, New Hampshire, and there's one in Albany, so, I mean, it's not,
Yeah, I had gotten that letter as well. Done business with them for a long time.
right? Yes,
They
indeed.
worked nice. They always had a truck that came around once a week as well. Parts delivery.
Where did they start? They started down on Route 30, right? Isn't that where they were all born?
Mhm.
Down the end of Sykes Hollow, right?
Yeah.
The only other thing is that Keith got an email that I was included on from Stephanie from the Rutland Regional, letting us know that the 153 road project is not eligible for funding under the USDA Emergency Watershed Protection Program, and she's not had any other luck with any other funding sources to pay for only construction, which I guess is something that Keith had asked about. But she said, as we discussed, if the town is interested in applying for a FEMA mitigation grant, then I recommend you first apply for a scoping study that would include the development of a benefit cost analysis, which will be required for any subsequent construction funding grant application. If this is of interest, the December 9th, 2022 application deadline is fast approaching. So I haven't been so much a part of that, and I haven't looked into this yet, but I just got the email yesterday, I think it was, or the day before. So if we're interested in FEMA funding, then we would want to apply by December 9th for this scoping study. But if we are not, fine. I just don't really know what that meant, what he was inquiring about.
Why don't we revisit that?
Okay, just to put it on everybody's radar.
Yeah.
This is the thing that I got, so.
It'd be nice to see how far we can get with what we
Yeah.
got.
That's gonna be quite a can of worms that we open up. I have a feeling.
FEMA? Okay.
That's, a lot of that money is we're gonna have to come up with,
Mm-hmm.
a FEMA fund or something like that. Where right now, we're in a position where we can do what we can do. If we can get to the top of the water, we're probably gonna,
Yeah, and
Make
right now
life a
he's
lot better.
pumping it out as well, so there's no better time than right now to
Right.
start filling that back in, because we're not gonna have to pump it.
they're not gonna be pumping it anymore.
I don't,
He's
all
in a new
over.
location now, I see,
Right.
so. Mhm.
right now it's getting pumped out, so.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be using his material? Be easier there, because he was gonna do it before, remember?
A good portion of that's the town's material. So whatever's closest, yes.
Yeah.
Regarding the money for that project, I know that we had spoken about a month ago, I think, to Sally Aki
Mm-hmm,
about her potentially trying to get some money from the legislature.
mm-hmm.
Given that she wasn't reelected, we should probably contact Robin
Mm-hmm.
and see if she had started on that, if he can take over whatever she was working on. If we want
Yeah,
to still
yeah.
try to get that. If we think we're going to need additional money.
Yeah, I think that ball should still be rolling.
Okay. I can contact Robin about it.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I think the current representative stays in the position until, so she can still be called
Yeah,
and asked to,
Certainly,
and ask for that kind of handoff information.
yeah,
And
certainly.
encourage her to hand it off.
Yeah, however, the legislature is only in session during the first part of the year. So technically, when they're not in session, they're not really employed, but they are, it's very, so yes, but she certainly can still be contacted for the handoff, yeah.
But to give her the heads up of, can you know,
Yeah.
hand off?
Is there anything else with the road report? Nothing? All the trucks are running good? Everything is all repaired and stuff?
Yeah, one of the Macs needed a valve, but nothing major, an air valve.
Yeah, not an intake valve or something like that?
Mhm.
No.
No,
Oh, good.
Air brake valve.
All right. Assessors, anything from the assessors? Nothing, okay. Town clerk's memo.
I only have what's in front of you. That today I met with Nora Sargent and we canvassed and declared the winner of the state rep race, which, as you know, is Robin Chestnut Tangerman. I gave you some statistics on the turnout for the election. I also want to say thank you to Bob and to Jessica and Julie, and since Nancy's online, she helped with the early ballot processing. Thank you all for your help with the election. It went very smoothly, and I appreciate it very much. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else, unless anybody has any questions.
Nothing that I can think of. Everybody's all set? Thank you very much, Deb.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you.
Who can we call to fix that light?
I don't know what kind of a light it is. I don't, it's kind of got a big round
outside light.
bulb on it.
So the outside light, you can see that one there is on, but the one over on the other side of the porch is out. And we noticed it was out on election day
Why?
because it was by where the drop box was,
So it just needs a new bulb.
presumably.
We own a ladder?
There's a ladder in that end of the building.
Let's see if we have bulbs. If not, we can
Get them.
order some.
Yeah, I'll come help you change the light bulb.
We can hold the ladder.
Yeah, I'll put the ladder. I'll have it screwed in.
Oh, there we go.
Does anybody know which of those lights are motion lights and which are turn on lights?
When I turn the lights on, it
The
turns.
ones at the door are turn on.
Yes. The ones inside the stairwell to go upstairs, those are motion. I think everything outside is turn on because when we leave here at night, it's quite dark.
I think
And there's
one
no-
on that far side, like where the ramp is, that is motion activated, I think.
I don't think so because last time when we left, somehow the stairway lights were on, and so I went to try to turn them off with 0 success, and then I turned a bunch of light switches on and off, and nothing happened, and then eventually they went out. But nothing. When I was looking around, no lights turned on with my motions. So.
Huh, okay.
Okay. Treasurer's memo?
Just the 2 warrants. Payroll was $12,333.68. Accounts payable $32,923.44. General fund $23,133.85. Highway $16,856.57. Wastewater $5,266.70. Don't let me forget before I leave that your checks are why the payroll is so high, so I need to get them for you before you guys go.
Why the payroll was so
Did you like my joke?
flopping.
Sorry. Collected. We've been having some issues with credit card billing following the merger of Peoples to M&T, and so I'm interested in getting new cards. I have one, and then the library has one, but they're supposed to be separate, but since the merger, they're not, and they won't do anything to separate them again, so that's the main point of contention. And I was going to go with Berkshire, who also has a credit card, and we have a banking history with them. Unless anyone has any other suggestions or objects to that.
Well, whatever works most convenient for you, really.
Okay. We received $126,946 from Vermont Tax Department for the 23 hold harmless payment. And we have $100 for local fees from the Cannabis Control Board.
Well, let's not spend that all in one place.
Right? I didn't know I hadn't heard we were getting anything, so I'm going to just put that under zoning fee revenue, because it's kind of what it is. And then lastly, we just need to set a date for the budget work.
In past years, we've always picked an off Tuesday night. That seems to work best, I feel. You agree?
Yeah.
I have a question. What's the hold harmless payment?
So the current use program, the state offers people that are enrolled in a reduction in the assessed value. Like, we still assess it at a certain amount, and then the state tells us, then kind of determines the amount to lessen the assessment, and then they pay taxes on that amount, and then the state makes us whole.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Thank you.
So we don't lose any tax revenue on anybody that's enrolled in current use, basically, right?
Right.
Any other what do we want to pick for a day? Is anybody looking at a calendar? The sooner we get this going, the better, right?
Today's the 15th. And then the 22nd
So
is the
our
week
next meeting is the 29th,
of-
so you want to do the following Tuesday?
6th. December 6th.
That's what,
That's
yes,
what it is.
that is.
That's the 6th. Does anybody have a problem with that?
That should be fine with me.
Okay.
At 7?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll warn it.
Can you warrant a meeting for that, please? Thank you.
Can I ask a question? Is it the same deal of like the public is welcome to attend, but we won't be offering much time for comment?
There will be no interaction until the end of the meeting. That will give you time enough to get your requests out to everybody, so
I
that
already did get my requests out, and
Okay.
I've started to get some things in, so that should give me plenty of time to get that, and hopefully I'll be able to put it together. And I've given you some sheets that you can take home and look at too, but I'll try to be able to have everyone's requests like color coded or something for you guys on that night. Maybe it'll be a little easier that way.
Okay, great. Anybody have any questions for Julie?
I'll move that we accept the two warrants, 23027 and 23028.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you, Julie. And Emergency Management Director. Nothing, middle of the month. And Health Officer. Nothing. Wastewater. I haven't heard anything. We had our meeting the other day. Jill didn't have anything to report of any issues going on. Everything seems to be.
There was that communication from Bruce. Did he get everything that he needed?
As far as I know at this point, I sent him a message
With the
with the
statutes.
right, the town ordinance for the sewer
Ordinance.
on it.
And then, I mean, my email to him after our last meeting was intended to get him in touch with Jill, because I think
Right.
Jill has the answers to most
She
of
can
his
show him
questions.
exactly where his lateral T connection is.
So I didn't like go any further with that
Right.
email exchange because I didn't feel it was my place, but I just wanted to make sure that he got everything that he needed, or
As
if
far-
there's anything I should say to him.
Right, as far as I know, I mean, everything was covered, reviewing that. He was curious about how everything was written in the ordinance, and
And you got him that,
I
so.
gave him a copy of the ordinance so that he can look it over. Facilities report. Hi. Oh, excuse me.
I did a preliminary workup on getting the names into an Excel sheet so that I can,
Uh-huh.
put them together with the grand list. That's as far as I've gotten. I haven't gotten the grand list and then coordinated it, but I have all of the names.
You started working on that. Yeah, that's one of the things that Jill found in the process of trying to determine the hookups. She realized that when they put the sewage system in, every parcel is listed under the current owner's name in 1983 or 84. So it's-
Oh, efficient.
so now, she gave that list to Julie, and Julie's matching it against the grand list so that we can come up with the parcel numbers for the attached properties. That will make everything much cleaner, and it will be that way for eternity,
yeah.
so. Thank you for doing that extra. Anything else? And I thought 2 or 3 times yesterday about getting a hold of Dave to see about when he had any intention of doing this. But I think that it's probably gonna be a little bit more of a not so nice weather job out, because he is trying to catch up on all his roofing. So I'll do my best to have an answer by next meeting. And anything else as far as facilities?
No, not that I know of.
Everything's cool at the library?
Nobody's mentioned any problems, so I assume everything's working good.
Exactly, unless you know different. And Mettawee School Board, do we have a report just?
I do. I definitely don't have that one in front of me. Sorry.
Don't you worry.
I was planning on being in my jams at home.
Hold on.
Alas, here I am, practically in my jams in public.
Okay. At the regular meeting on November 14th, the Mettawee School Board welcomed their newest member, Corey Brago, adopted required policy for homeless students, adopted required policy section 504 and ADA grievance protocol for students and staff, adopted required policy on student freedom of expression, reviewed the FY23 budget anticipated, began discussion on style of and topics to cover for our community engagement event on March 29th at 7 p.m. At the Mettawee School. We hope to have a student presentation and light refreshments. Please, everyone, mark your calendars. We love to have parent involvement, but you don't have to be a parent to attend. Public education is designed to be a benefit to all members of our community, and as such, we hope to have input from all. Our next regular meeting is scheduled for December 12th, 2022, 6:30 p.m. at the Mettawee Community School. We will continue discussions on FY24 budget. Wow. Please stop by to participate in an open meeting. Thank you for your support. Respectfully, Julie Mack, School Board Chair.
Thank you. Anybody, any questions or comments? Good. Older unfinished business, the scoping study.
Yeah, so we got an email from Nicole,
And
and,
signing the warrants.
oh,
Oh, yeah, I didn't even pass them
I
around
just
yet.
realized I hadn't got them yet.
good thinking. And while you're working on that, we got an email from Nicole and Peter Pochop about the scoping study, and in order, just a part of the process is we have to sign off on the certification and acceptance of the whole project. So we are agreeing to retain project records and just acknowledging the fact that it has federal funds. And I think that's about it.
Clarification, this is the scoping study for the intersection with
Yes. Yep. And it also, there are options for 2 boxes to be checked, and we're acknowledging that there were not any additional municipal costs that required additional local funds outside of what we had expected, so I think that's something for you.
Thank you.
You're all on board?
Is that a hard copy report that is just distributed or given to the planning commission? Or what is the scoping study? Is it physical? Or, I mean, it's
There is
electronic.
a document which I have been
Yes.
sent. If, I could forward it to the planning commission, if it would be of interest
That is
to the planning
the
commission.
artifact that is the
Yes.
result of the money, correct?
Yes, it is.
They also would like a motion to acknowledge that we accept that.
Oh, all right. I will move that we accept the scoping study.
Thank you.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Jessica, can you forward that to me too? How big is it?
How
How many pages? Because I have physical paper files with all of our.
I don't
grants and
recall
stuff
how
on
many
that.
pages it is, but I can forward it to you.
Maybe I can have some of it with the grant paperwork.
Physical files?
Like not digital, a file. I have a file with grant paperwork, so I could maybe house at least a portion of that there. Manila folders, pencils, legal pads, the whole 9.
I go for that.
Old school.
Anything else under old or unfinished business?
All right, Crystal, here's the warrants.
Any new business?
Wow.
Rolling.
Not from me. Does anybody else have anything?
No?
Any public comment?
Wow.
Frank?
Does the town hall, given the digital nature of everybody that's doing stuff here, have a backup generator system?
Have a what? A backup?
Backup generator here.
A backup generator?
Right.
No.
Huh?
No.
Honda makes a really good one, a 7,000 watt, that has an inverter, so it's clean power for computers and stuff. And can be, and there's a company that, Honda sells it with gas, but there's a company that's made it to run gasoline. There's a company that has made it so it run on LP. And
That's probably something we maybe should think about, some kind of grants. I'm sure there must be
Yeah.
grants out there for something like that.
Yeah, because if the power's off and you can't run the meeting, you can't, the whole kit and caboodle's in a change of situation. And if it's off for days, if you have an ice out, remember up in the mountains it went out for a pretty long time, but down in the valleys we didn't, it was about 2 years ago or so. So you basically would still be able to run business.
That's something that we could, keep our eye out for a grant.
Do the phones require power? Here, or are they just straight hooked up?
I don't know if they'll, maybe the voicemail definitely won't work and things like that, but I think we could make phone calls.
The answering machine probably won't work
Right.
or anything like that.
Not if they're modern, if they're
They're
modern
not
phones,
very
they're-
modern.
okay.
Yes.
I have something for new business.
Okay.
So sorry. But Devin Neary sent you and me and Deb, and I forwarded it to you, the 2022 RRPC, Rutland Regional Planning Commission Annual Report. And they would like for us to review it. And also with that is they're asking if we would continue to be involved in the Rutland Regional Planning Commission with our municipal dues at $1,000 per town. So they asked that we review that, and if we would like to continue to be involved, that we work that into our budget.
Okay.
So I'll send it out to everybody else, and we can
I
talk.
sent it to everybody, I think, tonight.
Yeah, I got
Did
it.
I get it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got it.
Just
Nice.
before, well, I try to look stuff over before I quit at 4:30, so.
Yes. All right. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up, and we can talk about it next time. But I sent it to you too, so that we can think about that for budget.
Yes. I will just chime in right now and say the work that Rutland Regional Planning Commission does for us is substantial and definitely worth those dues.
Oh yeah, I
Yes.
think we should.
Yes,
That's just
definitely
my
money
2
well
cents is
spent.
we should continue
Yes.
with it, but
Definitely
Yeah,
money
they
well
manage a
spent.
lot of grants for us.
yes. Okay, that was it.
So Frank, you have one more thing?
I had a crazy idea, really crazy, fasten your seatbelt.
Get to the
Has
point,
anyone ever
Frank.
thought of vectoring River Mountain Road instead of coming Route 30 to here, coming up like by Sheldon, somewhere along that way, and coming down through across the library property here and coming in and just closing off that whole access in front of Max Market, turn it into a friggin' parking space, period. I don't know how it would work, I just, it's a crazy idea, department type thing.
Yeah, right through your
Okay.
house.
My house?
Yeah.
Sorry, I actually
You could make a lot of money.
was not entirely paying attention. I'm gonna say no to my house. So sorry.
Quote of the night.
I'm so sorry. I was writing something
That's
else
a
down.
crazy idea.
I know, you lost me at crazy idea. Honestly, I'm being
Well, I'm in the
totally
middle of,
honest.
Kristen's doing her job here.
So sorry.
I was thinking how that would just fix the whole damn thing. I can't figure out how you fix that intersection otherwise.
Okay.
Unless you came down on the other side and built a bridge.
Yes.
And-
You'd have to have a bridge if you were trying to go to from Rupert Mountain to my house.
No. It goes.
Is there anything more for public comment? I do have one thing of public comment. As I've been on the board for quite a few years now, it seems more and more evident that we need to consider the idea of administrative assistant for the town. I just feel
You
that.
mean a town administrator?
Right, not a manager because it has to do with but a town too, because there's so many things that seem more and more to fall through the crack or get laid on somebody because they can, like Jessica has stepped up to do a lot of grants and stuff, but that's not really what the select board position has been, but the current times that we live in require a great deal more work than they ever did before. And especially what I see of all the information available to the select board, it's all during the middle of the day when everybody works. So it's kind of hard to get all the tools that you need to do the job well if you don't have the opportunity. And that's why I feel that, we really should consider, somebody in a support and they could handle, various tasks. I mean, like the zoning administrator position would quite often held by somebody in that position, and several of the other positions that we're sometimes are struggling to fill and stuff like that. So that's my feeling, and I just wanted to get it out there to see what everybody thinks and get any kind of feedback.
It does
Yeah.
seem like there's so many sources of grants. The highway department, someone from the highway department mentioned to me, we need someone who can do computers and apply for grants. And it seems Jessica has mentioned a number of grants, and then these December 9th deadlines approach, and it's like, oh, there's just no way we're gonna be able to do something. And to keep track of all the nitnoid details and the deadlines and the crossing of the T's and dotting of the I's, etc., it doesn't seem like there is someone in the town who's doing that.
That's the way I feel too, and I think that position could be more than self-supported by the value that you would bring to the town. And the grants that we apply for are the ones that kind of ask us, that they're put out to us. I'm sure there's a lot of grants that if we just sniffed around a little bit, we could do better, and that's what I'm feeling. That's why I feel I need to bring this up. Frank?
Great point. Neary made another point that may dovetail with that. He was saying that a lot of towns don't have their zoning administrators wrapped up, and that they are looking to move forward to having some position established there where they could actually service those towns' zoning administrator needs. They might be able to jump, because we're having the problems that everybody's got to have that same issue. So maybe the Rutland Regional might be asked to see if they want it, because they know about all these grants anyways. That's what they're doing, right, Jessica?
Yeah, they
So
have
that-
been,
So they would be able to act as a liaison in that capacity as a special assistant and see how that worked out for multiple of towns, and then obtain a full-time position out of the whole thing. And then we benefit from it. Because they're right on top of everything that comes down the pipe. That's what they do up there, is what my reading on it is.
I think it's a great idea, and I think it would be valuable. It seems like grants is the main focus, so I think rather than calling it a town administrator, just a specific grant writer, because there are people that's their whole bread and butter, and they could service the whole town and assist the different departments, but just a grant, even just if you wanted to get that specific, a grant writer would be tremendous, I think, really valuable.
Don't they take like a commission or something out of the deal? Somehow.
Harley?
Yes, the grants would be a big chunk of it, but it seems like there's the highway department and there's belly buttons for getting stuff done. But there's a lot of other things mentioned, that the audiovisual system, getting that done, the facilities, keeping track of the facilities, which I think is beyond the highway department, right? The facilities is not the highway
Yeah,
department.
part of it.
So, who are you counting on to make sure it gets done? Either they do it, minor things themselves, or they just keep on whoever needs to do it. So it seems like it would be beyond grants themselves, but the grants make it less cost to the town, if even a benefit to the town.
Right.
To have that person.
Mike, I agree. I agree with you. I think that the amount of work that is increasingly needed for the town is enough to justify a position. I do. I mean, like you said, I have been doing a lot, but I definitely have seen a few deadlines go past me, right? And then it's a week late, and I say, oh my goodness, I need to take care of this. And like you said, I also work and don't always have as much time to do these things as I would like.
Julie?
I think probably we have a listserv for Municipal Clerk and Treasurer Association of Vermont, like sending out an email just asking if anyone on there has a town admin and how their pros and cons, town size, budget size too,
Mhm.
so you have a general inkling of an idea of how it might work for someone our size.
If you could do that, that would be great. Get the ball rolling. This was just to start a conversation, and in my opinion, I'd like to get a conversation started, and now we can gather information and gather public feedback and stuff like that, and see where it goes. Is there anything else for the public comment tonight? Okay, we're going to break into executive session. Somebody want to make a motion?
I will make a motion.
Rich and Bob made a motion.
We'll just go in the other room.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.